Well, hello. Welcome, everybody. This is the Audacious Confidence Show. I'm your host, Alicia Couri, and I am the Red Carpet CEO here to influence, educate, inspire, and entertain you so you can step into your own audacious confidence and be more, do more, have more, live the life of your dreams without limits. And today is all about gratitude. It's all about building your confidence through gratitude. And I even have my gratitude t-shirt on today. See, gratitude. And how many times have we been negative about something, either a person, a situation, something that's going on in our lives? And the more we focus on the negative, the worse the situation gets. And it doesn't just get worse in our minds, and we start feeling the heaviness of it, and we start feeling the grief of it, but also our surroundings start to become negative too. Like we draw this negative energy from everywhere into our space, and suddenly everything starts going wrong. You break a nail, and then something else happens and it just begins to snowball. Well, what if in the middle of that snowball, you take a moment and you stop? And you start looking at all the things in that moment, in that situation that you can be grateful for. What can I be grateful for in the midst of this situation? And that shifts your focus. And that's what we're going to talk about today with my special guest, Vismaya Rubin. So I know we promoted it, Michele Vismaya Rubin, but Vismaya, as everyone knows her, I'll tell you a little bit about her because I met her a few months ago. I was speaking at an event. She was speaking at an event. We met together. And Vismaya Rubin, founder of Living in Gratitude Today, gets people to exercise their gratitude muscle in order to experience more love, joy, and prosperity. Vismaya coaches people on the benefits of a gratitude practice, how to start one, and most importantly, how to maintain it during difficult times, which is what I was talking about. How do you maintain an attitude? How do you maintain that gratitude, when things get difficult? Vismaya's journey began in the classroom of an inner city school where she taught students to find the beauty and joy in their life by shifting their perspectives despite adversity. Knowing her message changes lives, Vismaya left the classroom to share her work with the world. Through research and life experience, Vismaya learned that when we practice gratitude, we experience more happiness, joy, productivity, and stronger connections with the people around us. She's a best-selling author that teaches about gratitude at live events and webinars worldwide. Her Living in Gratitude Today movement and gratitude swag support people in their gratitude practice. And I'm wearing that gratitude swag today. So I'd like to welcome to the show, Vismaya Rubin. Come on up.
Hey,
girl.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm
yes,
great.
Gratitude Gangsta. See, I didn't say.
Super excited to be here. Yes.
What?
So it looks like you were in my house this morning with everything you just said.
I was in my own house too. And I had to make that shift. I knew you were coming on. And when I had a situation and I started to think, what am I grateful for? And I started to really practice that. So this first segment, I'm cutting my head off. I gotta like scooch down a little.
My shirt's crooked, so we're good to go.
Your shirt is crooked and I'm cutting my head off.
There we go.
We're all grateful to be here though. So why gratitude? This first segment, I want to talk about why is gratitude important? Why?
So I want to go back to what you said about focusing only on the negative when negative stuff happens. And I think that there's a lot of power in what you said, is that when we get into that space of craziness, that if we tap into gratitude, we're able to pull ourselves out. But I also want to be responsible in saying that sometimes it's okay, or I would think all the time it's okay to allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling and realize that that's just maybe a portion of your life, that that's just at this moment. It's not forever.
Like
And
grief.
right. We're supposed to feel sad when somebody dies. We're supposed to feel, it's okay. Let me not say supposed to. It's normal to feel sad when somebody dies.
When you have loss.
Correct. It's normal to feel sad when we lose a job or something like that happens. So that part is normal. What tends to happen is that people get so focused on that they think everything in their life falls apart, that nothing is working. And that's where having a gratitude practice is really powerful, because we tap into those moments that do work. It's not every aspect of my life that's not working. It's just this one area. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the power. So something just went in my eye. Oof.
Oh.
We're good.
I know I was driving today and an eyelash fell in my eye. I'm like, oh no.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm crying.
You can still see out of this eye.
That's gratitude. It was funny because this morning I had one of those mornings where I put my keys down. I ran upstairs to get something, came downstairs, had no idea where I put my keys. And I was going, come on, what's going on? Why are my keys? Da, 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 da. And then what I realized was that, what is the lesson I'm supposed to be learning here right now? Maybe there was, God forbid, an accident that I'm missing. What is the lesson I'm supposed to be learning? And I got a few lessons this morning, and it all ended up being in perfect timing. And I walked outside, I drove in my car, went to where I was going, and there was a big accident that I had avoided. But that's an extreme case. But the idea of gratitude is it taps into what works in our life versus what doesn't. And I apologize because my eye is something totally went in it. So it's about tapping into all those moments that work versus all of the other stuff. And I think that's really where the power comes, that we could focus on, the idea is that what you focus on expands. So if we're constantly focusing on, I stubbed my toe, I broke my nail, I'm late for work, I can't find my keys, my eye is tearing on, and I'm on a show right now.
You're on live and your eye is tearing.
I'm on live and my eye is tearing. If we focus on all of the things that are not working, we're going to bring more of that in. And it's scientifically based. They've tested it. But what happens is that if we focus on, okay, so this is what's not working right now, but how do we shift that to what is? And it's a fun experiment. Try this. Focus on your favorite car when you go out in the morning, and I guarantee you that you'll see that car everywhere you go, because where your focus goes, that energy flows, and you'll start to notice those things that your energy is on.
Yeah, so that's your reticulating activating system in the front of your. It starts focusing exactly on what it is that you want to see, and it's subconscious. It's a subconscious thing that just starts happening. You go to buy a new car and suddenly you're looking for that car and you start seeing it everywhere you go. It's like, oh, there it is. There's my car. Or you can notice that. It's a very powerful thing when you start to shift your focus and really focus in on something. So talk to me about how you came to this topic. I don't even want to trivialize it by saying topic, but how you came to develop this practice of gratitude. What was going on in your life that gave you that, I need to stop and focus on something else?
So I think my whole life I've been a gratitude practitioner, and I didn't realize it until I was much older. So my mom was bipolar. My parents got divorced when I was very young. And I remember a lot of people always wanting to feel sorry for me or feel bad, because there were times that it was a little challenging with my mother, but there were also times that it was fantastic. So people wanted to feel, bad for me. Oh, I'm sorry you're going through this. And I remember even as a little girl saying, no, like, you don't have permission to feel bad for me. I have a lot of great things in my life. I went to summer camp and I was in Girl Scouts and I did all these great things. So I was always able to tap into all of those things that were working. And I thought I'm very lucky. I used to say, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. And what I started to realize was that it wasn't luck. It was actually a practice of gratitude that I didn't realize that's what it was. And then I was, practicing with my students and having them do research about gratitude. And they were also keeping gratitude charts each year. And I started to see the difference it made in ninth graders. And if you know anything about ninth graders, they know everything. So when you tell them, listen, we're going to start keeping a gratitude chart from day one of school, they thought I had lost my mind.
Right.
Like, who is this woman? What is she talking about? She must be crazy. So they started keeping gratitude charts, and I had already been in this practice for a while. And what was very interesting to see is that by November, so school started in August, by November, they were leaving me little notes. Thank you for making us do this. And then by the end of the year, they were running up to me saying, you don't understand the things that I learned about myself because of this gratitude practice. Like, one little girl said, I realized that I spend so much time with my family, and I never realized it before. And I'm so happy because I love my family and I get to be with them and hang out with them.
Wow.
And another little girl, yeah, it was really powerful, you know. And another one came up to me and she's like, I realized that when I'm in a bad mood, I get to do something nice for somebody and it makes me feel good.
Wow.
So coming from the mouth of a ninth grader, you know that this is a great practice that really works.
Correct. Exactly. And I saw a comment from Sebastian about how we focus on what we don't have instead of focusing on what we don't focus on is what we already have and how fortunate we are, and focus only on what we do not have. And you know that tends to be the case, especially I can speak as a woman, you know, women and as a beauty expert that used to do a lot of hair and makeup. The curly hair wants straight hair. The straight hair want curly hair. You know, people who have a wider nose want you to contour their nose thinner. People who have thinner lips want you to make their lips bigger. If they have smaller eyes, they want you to make their eyes big. You know, everything that you don't have, instead of working with what you have, they're like, change it, change it. So
I hear you.
So we do focus on sometimes what we don't have, and I think we really need to learn how to, beyond just appreciate what we do have, but learn to really be grateful for it. So what's the difference between appreciation and gratitude?
I use those words simultaneously. I use them synonymously. So for me, they're the same. You know, the idea is that when you think about the word appreciate, another definition of appreciate is it grows, to make something grow. So I think that that's a really powerful definition, because we're talking about the things that we're grateful for. What happens when we express gratitude? The things that we're grateful for expand. So if you're grateful for your partner and you express that gratitude to your partner, can you imagine how juicy and delicious your relationship is? When you express it, when you share it, when you let them know, hey, I really appreciate the thing that you did for me today. I love the fact that, you know, every morning you look at me and tell me I'm the most beautiful woman that ever existed, even though my hair is all crazy and I have dragon breath, right? So I use those synonyms.
Lies! The lies!
I don't know about you, but mine is like
so yeah, I think no, I love that. I love that. If you are able to, if you're able to really appreciate, and I love that, because appreciate does mean to grow. So if you're willing to switch that around and learn how to appreciate the things that are around you and that are in your control, basically, like, so to speak, then you have a lot more that will come to you. I think that happens.
You know, and I think it's, even if you, and I think that a lot of times people think that when you're grateful, you're complacent. And it doesn't mean you're complacent. It means that you have the space to say, like, this is what's so for me right now. Even if I don't love the situation I'm in, but if I can show gratitude for it, maybe I don't like where I'm living, but if I walk in my house and go, you know what? I have a place to live. It's a safe place to live. I can go to sleep at night. I have a restroom I can use. I have running water. Versus coming in and going, oh my God, I hate this place. This is the worst place ever. I wish I could move, and blah, blah, blah. There's a totally different energy. And when you stop for a second and go, okay, this is where I'm at now. This is what's so. That doesn't mean it's going to be so forever.
It's not going to stay
right now. And I think that's where the power comes in, is that we're not taking all of our energy and focusing on, like what Sebastian was saying, on what we don't want. We're saying, okay, this is what's so, and now I can find a way to navigate, because I have energy that I can use to navigate on other things.
And that really brings me to to our next segment. So for those of you who are joining us, thank you so much for watching. You're watching the Audacious Confidence Show with your host. It's me, Alicia Couri. And today we're talking about gratitude. See, I'm wearing my gratitude swag that I got from Vismaya. So my guest is Vismaya Rubin. She is the Gratitude Gangsta. What? You got to say it like that, right?
Yes.
So FWL says, yes, gratitude is an active process. It is. And it's an everyday practice. It's not something you did last week and say, well, I was grateful for that last week, so why do I have to still be grateful today? So it's like, let's talk a little bit about how, because we were talking about if you're in this situation and it may not be the best situation or where you want to be, but let's shift a little bit in this segment and talk a little bit about the confidence to tap into your goals and dreams using gratitude. So when you use gratitude, and if anyone who is watching has any of their ideas or anything that they've experienced with gratitude, please feel free to chime in. You know, we'll love to hear what you have to say about it as well. So let's talk a little bit about how to develop those goals and dreams, because if we're grateful for what we have, say we really don't like what our situation right now, but we start practicing gratitude and we have our eyes on the future of what we want, how do we close that gap?
So there's a couple of things. Number one, if you are not in a space where you're happy with anything that's going on in your life and you don't feel grateful, you don't feel excited, there's nothing right going on as far as in your mind, the first thing I would say to you is find one thing that you can do right now that will make you happy. And maybe that is go outside for 5 minutes to feel the sun on your face. Maybe that's turn on the music and dance. Like before I came on this video, I was dancing in my house all over town. So do something that you can do right now that makes you feel good, even if it's for 5 minutes. Phone a friend. If you need to, get out a notebook and, vomit on paper, because I think that's the first step, is to do something that makes you feel good, feel better. So whatever that is, it's in a healthy, positive way. And then you asked me how gratitude builds confidence, and it's very simple. If you have an active gratitude practice, and when I say active, let's say you never practiced gratitude before, you don't know how to start. Here's what I tell people: grab your cell phones, because we walk around with cell phones all day long. So grab your cell phone, set the alarm to go off every 3 to 4 hours, and when that alarm goes off, you're going to stop whatever you're doing. You're going to take a deep breath. And you're going to reflect on the past 3 to 4 hours and ask yourself, what are my gratitude wins? So who or what made a difference for me? What did I do for myself? Because most people, when they talk about gratitude, it's about we acknowledge and we recognize that we received a gift outside of ourselves. But I also think there's really a lot of power in recognizing that you are also doing these great things. So who or what made a difference for me? What did I do for myself or for somebody else? Did I try something new? Did I do something nice for somebody? And then what made me smile or laugh till my sides hurt? Now, these are just guidelines, because it can be anything that made you smile, anything, maybe
Right.
You heard a quote, whatever it is. You write it down. And that's the key, is writing it down. Let's say nothing happened. That's okay, because you're going to do it again. But
Right.
Here's the really important part, is that as you start to keep your gratitude charts and as you write it down in your journals, you'll start to compile a list of those I's in the wins. Is what did I do? So maybe today, I was feeling really badly, but you know what? I turned the music on and I danced for 5 minutes.
I got out of my bed and I went for a run.
Exactly. I got out of my bed and I went for a run. That sounds horrible to me.
I
went to yoga today,
But I did it. And I'm grateful that I got up and I did it.
I hear you. I did a 38 flight stair climb, and I will do that any day over running.
Wow. I just want to acknowledge a few people that are watching on YouTube. Ray Perez is on YouTube watching us. Hey, Ray, thanks for joining. And William Thomas is watching, as well as Dr. Bill Belfar is watching. Hey, Dr. Bill. Thomas Wellman is watching. Cindy Constable. Hey, Cindy. Hi. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Appreciate you tuning in and checking us out over on Facebook. So I really enjoy that we have the opportunity to carry around a journal with us, write these things down, because these are little wins. These are little wins that we can start collecting. You know, Oprah used to do, you know, her gratitude journal, and she used to say at the end of the day, write 5 things down that you're grateful for. And sometimes you don't even remember. So if every 2 to 3 hours, like you're saying, or 3 to 4 hours, you're taking stock of those things really quickly, then by the end of the night, you can read through them and say, oh, wow, I didn't have such a crappy day after all. Look at all these things that I accomplished, and all these things that I'm grateful for. And so I think that's really amazing. You know what? We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about gratitude. So let's take a quick break, producer, and we'll be right back. Oh, I'm hearing no. All right, I got 2 more minutes. So let's talk for 2 more minutes. So doing that, how does that reach your goals though? Tell me, how does that get you to your goals?
Because you start to see that like you said, writing down those little steps, you start to notice if you're not feeling very confident, what you start to notice is, wait a minute, I did this and 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 I did this. And then you start to see, wait, I'm doing what I said I was going to do. And then it takes you to the next step. And it also, you get to take a look at where do you need to amp up that level of action. So it works both ways. But I think that when you start to notice and you start to pay attention to those little things, because we remember that we're grateful if you have a child that was born, or if you buy a house, or you bought a car, or you graduated from college.
You got a new job, you got a promotion, the big thing.
But it's the little things that we get to focus on, or we get to pay attention to, that because those are the things that slip our mind. Those are the things that really boost our confidence. Maybe it was one client called you up today and said, you know what? You went on a live today and you said exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you. Awesome.
That is amazing. Yes, because I see High Tech Mother there, our fearless leader, saying, hi, Vismaya. What? Hi, Mama. How are you doing? She's on YouTube commenting. Thank you for commenting on YouTube. That's awesome. Now, it's really important for you to, first of all, have goals and have dreams. So when we come back, now I get permission to take a break. Thank you. I'm so grateful for my producer and my director. We're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about a little bit more about gratitude and goals. That wasn't a long enough break to go potty, but we're back. We're back to the Audacious Confidence show, here with your host, Alicia Couri, that's me, and my special guest, who is the Gratitude Gangsta, Vismaya Rubin. And we are all talking about how to build confidence using gratitude. And when we left before our little break, we were talking about tapping into your dreams and your goals and your visions using gratitude by keeping a gratitude journal, or you said, what did you call it again? Sorry.
Gratitude journal.
Gratitude chart. Right. Gratitude chart. Sorry, I just had a little.
Gratitude journal is actually what I use, but my students kept gratitude charts because they didn't have journals. So
okay, so it's the same thing. Thank you. So you keep a gratitude journal, and you're able to start compiling all those little wins, I guess you can call them, these little wins that you accomplish throughout the day. And that is really important when you may not be where you want to be yet. And honestly, I don't think anybody is where they want to be, because as humans, we want to grow and want to keep growing. So maybe you're not in the best situation right now, but this is what Vismaya is sharing with us, is a way that you can start seeing your progress, right? How you see your progress little by little, and where you need to make little tweaks. So tell me, like, how you've seen your clients. We've talked about the kids in high school. How you've seen this work with some of your clients with the work that you're doing?
Some of my clients are going through some serious illnesses right now, or some serious life changes. And most people going through what they're going through would be on the floor crying all the time. And the notes that I get frequently are, because I'm able to tap into what's working, because I'm able to find those little moments, I'm able to survive. I'm able to keep going. I'm able to smile each day. I'm able to push forward. And I think that's been the most powerful thing. I've had people come up to me that I hadn't seen in a while, and they're getting, they're on my part of my gratitude community. And they're like, because of you, I'm now starting to set intentions. Because of you, I'm starting to, and it's not because of me, it's because of the work. I'm starting to set intentions. I'm starting to create goals. I'm starting to, really look at my life in a different way. And I think that's where the power comes in.
Wow. That is really powerful.
It is. It's about tapping in. We talk about, finding 5 things that you're grateful for, but the challenge is really making them unique to the day. So what is something that happened today that you're grateful for? What is something that doesn't happen every day? It's great to say, I love my husband or I love my boyfriend, but talk about why. What are the specifics about it? And as you're writing down your gratitudes, write down enough of them so that you can actually feel it as you're writing it down, so that when you're reading it again, you can go back and you experience those feelings. I have things in my journal that every time I read them, it brings tears of joy to my eyes, because the way I wrote it down, I made sure that it had detail and there was enough of that in there so that when I go back, I can really go back into that space, even if it was 6 years ago.
Wow. And there are 2 things I want to say about that. Number 1 is mindfulness. You have to really be present in the moment so that you can remember the details and you can record the details. So you have to be present in the moment as it's happening, because, it makes you be more mindful, because this is something I'm going to have to record in a few minutes, so you have to be very mindful. And the second thing, as you're talking about the feeling, I remember I did an interview way back in season 1. We're in season 3 now. And I spoke to someone about making quantum shifts. And she said, when you can feel it within your body, when you can experience it in your body, that's when you make a shift. That's when you can make a quantum shift. So the feeling part is very, very important in shifting, making shifts in your attitude and shifts in your energy and your day, to help you really take yourself to the next level and get yourself out of a funk if you're in a funk. So that's really important. So I want to move on to our 3rd segment now. So if you're watching, if you just tuned in, this is the Audacious Confidence Show. I am your host, Alicia Couri, and I'm talking with this amazing woman, the Gratitude Gangsta, Miss Vismaya Rubin. What? I know we got to say the what every time. Vismaya Rubin, and she helps individuals tap into their gratitude to help them, kind of like what I do, be more, do more, and have more. Help them really see where they are, where they want to go, and how they can get there using gratitude. I saw a comment pop up a second ago. My eyes were closed because I was just so in the moment. It says, Talk to Me movement on YouTube says, feeling talks to you. Feelings talk to you. Yes. Feelings definitely talk, and they talk loud. So the next segment, I really want to tap into the difference between gratitude practice versus an attitude of gratitude, because you always hear people say, have an attitude of gratitude. So take it away, Vismaya. What is the difference?
So I am not a fan of Attitude of Gratitude. I think I might have it on one piece of copy because I know it was a good buzzword for SEOs, but I never use that, and here's why. I think when we talk about an attitude of gratitude, it gives us the impression that we wake up and it's like very Pollyanna and everything is going to be glitters and rainbows and perfect, and you wake up and you're not supposed to feel sad, or you're not allowed to feel sad, or you're not allowed to feel normal human emotions when you have an attitude of gratitude, because everything is wonderful and perfect. And I think that is what gets people in trouble, or that's what gets people to pull back from really saying, well, I have nothing to be grateful for, because if they feel like their life is not in that space of, rainbows and glitter and unicorns,
right,
they don't even want to start the practice. But again, it's about a gratitude practice. It's about every day, at every moment, tapping back into that space. I'm not feeling so good right now. Okay, that's all right. What's going on right here? It's not my whole life, reminding myself it's just this one area. It's compartmentalizing that. But not pushing it away like it doesn't exist. A gratitude practice means that we're constantly on the lookout. We're like detectives with our little microscope, constantly on the lookout for what it is that we're grateful for, finding those moments. And you talked about the reticular activating system. The more we do this, the more it becomes second nature. Like I can walk outside and something happens and I'm like, oh, a moment of gratitude. And it kind of clicks in my head. And I don't have to think about it. It just happens for me now. So
nice. Yeah.
When you're in that practice, it comes naturally. It starts to come naturally.
It's so true. And it's about building habits, building the habit for doing it so that it becomes second nature and it becomes an instinctive practice. There it is. I was just going to ask, Sebastian said, false positivity sucks. And I think it's not that people are trying to be false. And there's that, and I want to be really careful saying this because there is a place for kind of this fake it till you make it thing. There is a place for it, but it's not everyday sort of thing. So there's a place for attitude of gratitude, but it cannot be, like you're saying, this fake kind of Pollyanna kind of, oh, I have to be like a robot. I have to remember, I have to have an attitude of gratitude. Oh, I stubbed my toe. I have to have an attitude of gratitude. My toe didn't break and the chair is still there. Yay.
Right? But I think what you said is very important. There is a place for it. And I think that it's not about the attitude of gratitude. It's tapping in. So if you're in a space where you're feeling like things aren't so great and you're feeling a little crazy, pull out a journal, because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and fake, and create a day that was like your perfect day that you're absolutely grateful for as if it already happened. So start your morning off if you're not feeling so good. If today was the perfect day, what would it look like? How would it be? I woke up this morning, and you're writing as if it already happened. I woke up this morning and I had the most delicious day. I got to see the sunrise. I was sitting at the beach. The weather was perfect. The wind was blowing through my hair. Then I went and had my coffee. And when I was having my coffee, 3 new clients called me and said, Vismaya, I need you to come speak here. And then as that was happening, I was getting people into the Living in Gratitude Today movement, and the gratitude swag was pouring off the shelf. So that is a whole lot different than attitude of gratitude. And that sometimes is super fun to tap into that juiciness and that feeling of what would it feel like if that's what was happening.
Yes.
I think that's really powerful.
It is very powerful. I saw High Tech Mother said she would bring me a tissue, but it would be very expensive. She's all the way across the other side of the world right now. I know there's power in what you're saying. There's definitely power in kind of writing it down, projecting it, and starting to feel and believe it as you're writing it. Because it changes your mood, it changes your attitude. That's where the attitude comes from. It changes, it flicks a switch for you, because then it gets your creative juices flowing too. And when you get into that creativity mode, you really start to experience something different. You start getting excited about what's happening. And then if you start your day like that, things can happen like that, because now you're projecting that and you're allowing this reticulating activating system to go to work for you.
Absolutely.
What else have you seen, having practiced gratitude? Periscope. Sebastian's on Periscope. He's saying, I am grateful for Periscope to allowing me to send love to you both. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on Periscope and commenting from Periscope. That's cool. So I am so grateful that we are broadcasting on 4 different channels, and hopefully pretty soon 5. And so we're gonna project that out there, that very soon we'll be also broadcasting on a 5th channel. So we have YouTube, we have Periscope, we have Twitch, and we have Facebook that we are live. So if you're on Twitter or Instagram, if you're on Twitter, join us on Periscope. If you're on Instagram, you'll see us on IGTV. But thank you all for joining us. I'm so grateful for that. So, because we didn't have this when we first started, we didn't have all these other channels. So it's so awesome. So I was asking before, what else have you seen this practice in your own life now shift for you?
So, in 2013, I don't know if I've shared this with you before, that was a year that was like absolute craziness for my family. On Valentine's Day, my dad had part of his lung removed. 2 days later, my cousin's husband was killed. 3 weeks later, my mother had a stroke. 3 weeks after that, my aunt went into the hospital and we knew she wasn't coming out.
Wow.
It was a lot. Throughout that whole time, what I was really present to was, yes, I was sad and I was frustrated and there was a lot going on. But because I had been practicing gratitude at that point, for like actively practicing for quite a while, I was tapped into the fact that, I was able to be there with my aunt. I was able to be every step of the way. I was able to be with my family. I was grateful that I had a job that I was teaching at the time. I told my principal what happened. She's like, leave, so Sunday, I had the money to go to fly to buy a last minute ticket to fly to Georgia. So I flew to Georgia. I had the time off from work. So I was there. All of these things started to, line up, and I was able to do the things I needed to do to support my family. But one of the most powerful experiences during that time was my aunt, who was in the hospital. She had kicked everybody out of the room and she said, I need you to stay. And I'm like, okay. She kicked out the whole family, her husband of 40 years, her son. She kicked out her former daughter-in-law, and she told me to stay. I said, what do you need? She goes, I need you to help me with my bedpan. Great. So I did what I needed to do. I helped her with her bedpan, and I got in my car and I drove about 45 minutes. But before I even made it 10 minutes down the road, I started to cry, like these just gorilla tears falling down. And I had to pull over. I couldn't see. Because what I realized at that moment was, without using the words, my aunt said to me, I trust you and I love you. She gave me that task because she knew I would treat her with dignity, with respect, that I would honor her, and she loved me. And
you wouldn't complain about it, and you wouldn't whine and be
or make faces, or I mean, I say it kind of jokingly now, but that's I'm not the blood and guts girl. I don't like to do those kind of things, but it was such an honor for me to be able to do that for her. And I didn't realize it until I got in my car, like how powerful a moment that was. And if I had not been practicing gratitude, it may not have been something that I would have noticed. It would have been like, she picked me, So the most powerful part for me of this practice is that the more I practice, the more I'm able to see what I'm grateful for, even in the challenges. And it happens automatically. And the other thing is that even when life is challenging, or life is, something is going on in my life, my mantra is, the universe has my back. The universe has my back. The universe has my back. So I'm always able to pull myself out of it a whole lot quicker. I don't stay in that funk forever. And then I've created a community of people who also will say to me, Vismaya, the universe has your back. Why are you upset? What's going on? Right. Don't get upset.
I just want to do a quick comment by Sebastian.
Those have been really my biggest.
I want to give this quick comment, and then I want to address that just for a second again. He said, that is all it takes to create the strength and true positive power in ourselves. Your aunt was a great human. And I really wanted to address that in that moment, she didn't have the words. I don't know her. I don't know how your relationship with her was before all of this happened, but for you to be able to stop and reflect on it and say, wow, she loved me and she trusted me and she knew that I loved her enough to do this for her. And you're absolutely right that a lot of times that would have just gone over our heads. It would have just been another thing we had to do. Right. And then she dies. And it would have been like, oh, wow, that's the last thing I did. You know, it wasn't hold her hand or say I love you or anything like that. But that act alone was the act of love. And she recognized that and you recognized that. And that's what's so huge about that moment, is that both of you were able to recognize that it was an act of love and respect and honor, and being able to reflect on that is really powerful. And so we all need a little more gratitude in our lives. You gave us one great tip to start doing with the journaling, to set our timers. If you didn't hear before, set your timer for 3 to 4 hours, and every 3 to 4 hours in your day, stop and reflect back on those 3 to 4 hours and write down what you're grateful for. And then is there anything else that you can share with us that we can do to start building that practice of gratitude?
So I think there's two other parts to what you just said. Number one is, if you're not finding anything to be grateful for at that moment, do not beat yourself up. Allow it to be what's so. It's okay. It doesn't matter, because you're going to do it again in 3 to 4 hours. So I think that's a really powerful step. And the other thing is, if let's say you go through the whole day and you have nothing to be grateful for, get up and move your body. Do something that makes you feel good. Anything. Give yourself a win. So that may be walking. If you don't feel like doing anything, walking 10 steps may be your win. Taking whatever you're feeling out in a journal, that may be your win. So find something to do that creates a win for you, so that you have something to be grateful for.
But even what you just said is a win, because if you don't have anything to be grateful for, you look back on the 3 to 4 hours and you're like, that was nothing to be grateful for. And you're able to forgive yourself and say, oh, well, that's okay. That is something to be grateful for, because you're not now sitting there beating yourself up. So you've just created something to be grateful for. You know, you've just created, I have allowed myself to feel what I felt, to be in that moment, and it's okay. It's okay. And now you don't have to spend the next 3 or 4 hours beating yourself up about that you didn't have anything to say 3 hours ago.
Yeah,
which is what we would do.
Right.
We would absolutely do that. So I really, really, I've enjoyed this conversation so much. So, you know, listen, guys, you need, High Tech Mother says kindness and gratitude is so, so, so important, kids. Yes, it is. Kindness and gratitude. Sanjit says, #live. Great conversation. Thank you, Sanjit, on YouTube. And we're getting a lot of comments from YouTube today. Yay. What I wanted to share is, listen, you guys need to connect with Vismaya, connect with her community. How can people get a hold of you and your community?
So there's 2 ways that are really easy. The first way is to text the word grateful, GRATEFUL, to the number 64600, or go to my website, which is livingingratitudetoday.com. livingingratitudetoday.com. Can I just give a shout out to my old students, because they are the ones who created the term Gratitude Gangsta. Wow.
Yes, go ahead.
So do we have time for me to share that backstory? Okay,
yes,
so I was teaching a writing class my last year of teaching, and we had talked about these kids who were in gangs, and we were doing comparative and contrasting essays. And we were sitting in a circle. We had finished the writing. And I said, I don't understand why people would be in gangs, because we had talked about the initiation and all that stuff. And I'll never forget, because Alex looked at me and he's like, Miss, we're in a gang. And I'm like, oh, God. I said, really? He said, we're in the Gratitude gang. We're Gratitude Gangstas. And I'm like, all right. And then William chimes in. He's like, yeah, man, we walk around and say, I like your shoes and I like your hat. And Alex comes back in and I like your belt. And we walk around with those guns. I'm like, no guns. And he's like, the guns that have the pop out flags? I'm like, yeah. He goes, the ones that say thank you? He goes, that's what we carry around. And in that moment, I realized that my students understood the power of gratitude. So
you shifted them completely.
Yeah, I used to get a lot of slack for calling myself a gratitude gangster. Now I'm like, I own it. What?
That's right. I love it. This time has gone by quickly. This show was really great. Thank you so much, Vismaya. Please check her out on Facebook. Go to, is your Facebook page also Living in Gratitude Today?
Yep.
Check out the community, Living in Gratitude Today. That's the website. Check out Vismaya and learn how to be grateful every day, even if it's just one little thing that you've done that day. Just develop a habit, develop that practice of gratitude. Thank you, Vismaya.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you. I appreciate you. Have been really, really great through this whole process. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. I'm just going to close out the show. Stay in the green room. Okay. I'll be back to see you. So I hope you were grateful. I know I am, for spending this time with you. I have a friend who used to tell me all the time that you only get to spend 1 minute one time. And so I am so thankful that you spent these minutes with me. It was your choice to spend those minutes with me. And I am so grateful for that, because you could have been doing anything tonight, but you chose to spend them with me and with Vismaya, learning about gratitude. So for that, I am grateful. And I hope you're grateful that you got some great information tonight. And with that, I'd like to say, have a blessed and wonderful week. Enjoy the rest of your week. Find moments to be grateful. And I will see you again next week with another amazing guest on the Audacious Confidence Show here on Dreamaniac TV. And as we love to say here on Dreamaniac, you dream big, we make it happen. And on the Audacious